What happens in that airport boarding and airport security area sets the tone for your entire trip. I don't know about you, but I personally am not a fan of airport waiting areas. Typically speaking, they're loud and uncomfortable and are good for nothing other than waiting. Everyone wants to board the plane at the same time, put their bags away, and take their seats. In this video, I am going to delve into waiting area seating and how to be the first in your group to board. I am also going to give you some options that will make your wait a little more bearable. Flying is a whole episode and the passengers are like actors. So I'm going to train you on how to act your part using a question and answer format. Are you ready? Well, let's do this. Do you have a right to a specific seat in the waiting area? Generally, the answer is no. It's first come, first served. The color of your loyalty card doesn't matter here. If there is an elderly person standing, give up your seat. Also, surrender your seat to pregnant women, families with kids under 2, and anyone traveling with these groups. When can I sit near the gate to board? Most flights are boarded in stages. First, those who are handicapped or need assistance, followed by first class and then families with small children. Then the main cabin will go next. A lot of times you can pay extra for expedited boarding. This means that you would board next. Some airlines have loyalty programs, so those will be boarded afterwards. Therefore, I would suggest sitting near the gate. This will help get you boarded quicker because you are close enough to hear what is going to happen next. Just try to pay close attention to what the airline representatives are saying and doing. To have the best chance of being the first to board the plane, you should aim to sit or stand near the front of the boarding line. Again, passengers are typically boarded in groups based on status, elite program membership, and ticket class. Those with higher priority boarding privileges, like first or business class passengers, are usually boarded first. Sitting or standing near the front of the line will put you closer to the boarding entrance, allowing you to be one of the first to enter the plane when your boarding group is called. Additionally, arriving at the gate early and being ready to quickly present your boarding pass can help ensure you are among the first to board. In the US, we board by group, and we call them gate lights that hang near the boarding door in anticipation of being first in their group. So as a group is called, you can nudge forward to be first in your group. If you are in Group 3 or higher on American Airlines, overhead bin space will be a challenge. Can you board the plane after your group number is called? If you have a seat assignment on your boarding pass, your seat won't be taken unless you fail to board before the gate closes, typically 10 to 15 minutes before departure time, when seats not occupied are unassigned and given to standby passengers. You can board any time after your zone is called. Depending on where I'm going and which airline, I will check my bag since I know it's going to be waiting for me at baggage claim, Delta into Atlanta or Baltimore, for example. I might be in first class, which boards almost at the very beginning. But if I don't need to fight for overhead space, I stay in the lounge or somewhere else and board toward the end. Why do people rush to board planes? There are two primary reasons for this. First, overhead bin space is the first reason. Last time I flew a few months ago, I did miss out on the overhead bin space and ended up having to check my suitcase. When I finally got where I was going, I had to wait another 20 minutes for them to finally get my suitcase into the baggage claim area. Sure, 20 minutes isn't the end of the world, but at 11:30 at night, it would have been nice to have been able to simply walk out of the airport and go home. Second, you get to secure your seat, relax without the hassle and stress as you wait for the plane to take off. This one's not huge, but there's always that little bit of stress waiting to get on the plane, knowing that you're going to have to grab all your stuff, find your seat, load your suitcase in the overhead bin, and so on. The sooner you can get into your seat, the sooner you can begin to relax. But really, the overhead bin space is by far the biggest reason. The handful of times I check bags, I'm in no rush at all to get on the plane and end up being one of the last people on. What's the right thing to do while waiting in a line at the airport when someone asks for your spot because their boarding is currently happening? At the very least, I'd ask to see their boarding pass so I can see what time they board. If they won't show me, or I see that they really aren't boarding, then there is no way they are going in front of me. I've traveled long enough to know that about 10 to 15% of the people in line, at least in airport security, will claim that their flight is boarding right then or in 10 minutes. Seems to me like they should have planned a little better. Unfortunately for them though, my airport is small enough that even if the flight is boarding right then, they will still be able to make it to even the farthest gate before the airline closes the door. I've seen too many people say, "Excuse me, but my flight is boarding right now. Could I go ahead of you?" And then people let them go ahead, and that person who was in such a rush stops at Starbucks where there are 30 people in line instead of going to the gate where their plane is supposedly boarding. I've even seen somebody ask to cut in front of people because their flight was leaving in 10 minutes. So of course people were nice and let them go ahead of them, and then the person stops and sits at one of the sit-down restaurants after security. Why do they board the front of the plane first? You may have trouble believing this, but there is a reason above and beyond the concept that the rich folks get to board first because they've paid more for their seats. With all aircraft, there is a concept called weight imbalance that can affect the aircraft both on the ground and in the air. At any point while an aircraft is empty, through when it's chock-a-block full for taking off, the center of gravity must be within a specific range or something like this happens. Think of an airplane like a teeter-totter. The main landing gear is the fulcrum, and if there is too much weight in the landing gear, there would be an imbalance. The normal range of the center of gravity starts at the nose and ends somewhere around the main landing gear. The range varies by type of aircraft. No surprise, smaller aircraft can be so subject to this effect that when on the ground and loading, a temporary support might be placed under the tail. May I save seats for people in my party? Yes, but there's a limit. If the waiting area is not yet crowded, reserving 1 or 2 seats by placing your bag in one of them and sitting 2 seats away is acceptable. However, if the waiting area fills up and your party hasn't shown up yet, let those who have already arrived take the seats and reunite with your party at your destination. Are there alternate waiting areas? Now let's talk about the other choices that you have, which are alternate waiting areas. Try these alternatives if you don't want to sit in the same waiting areas as others. Buy your way into the lounge. You don't have to be a first-class passenger to get access to a quieter, well-appointed airport lounge. You can buy a day pass or flash a credit card with lounge benefits, or check an app such as Lounge Buddy, which allows you to purchase lounge access online. Take the kids to their own waiting area. Several airports have kids' play areas. At Los Angeles International Airport, there's a section called LAX Beach, and it features sculpted foam artwork resembling waves, surfboards, and beach toys. Visit the military-only lounge. Many major airports offer USO welcome centers, which cater to troops and military family members transiting through the airport. Among the amenities, business stations with internet access, gaming stations, a sleeping room, and complimentary food and drinks. We hope you got enough information from this video to utilize the options available at the airport. Flying is never easy, but you can make it as comfortable as possible. Let us hear your experience in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe so you do not miss future videos like this one. Until then, safe travels.